I got it, trust me.
Last Survivor.
I could edit this in my head, trust me.
Okay.
So, would you ask me another Survivor question?
Well, the last Survivor question is, what's the future of Survivor? I mean, how long do you see it continuing?
Survivor has clearly been amazingly resilient, which is all due to the fans. And the fans are rewarding, I guess, us as a team, keeping it fresh. But I do have a philosophy on Survivor, which is that, you know, a lot of people, especially young people, won't even know what this means, but there was always something fun as an immigrant to America to receive letters from home. It was really great. From my mother when she was alive, you know, it would always be the same airmail blue stationery. There'd always be a similar kind of stamp, which was from the UK where I grew up, right? A postmark, you know, where it left in the UK, which would be a place near where I lived. Her handwriting, obviously, was the same. Just the fabric and feel of the envelope, you know. I'd open it, the stationery would be the same airmail blue stationery, which people believed was very lightweight, so it would cost less to send, you know, because it was by weight. That was very comforting. The envelope, the handwriting, the stamp, the stationery. It was an anchor of life. What was surprising was what was written on that week's news. Survivor is like that. The format of the show, Jeff, the cinematography, the feeling, is the envelope, the handwriting, the stationery. The content is what's on that letter. Our fans don't want new stationery. They don't want someone new writing the letter. They just want a new letter every week.
That's very eloquent, actually.
No, it's just true. It's exactly how I think.
Eloquent. How did The Apprentice come about?
The Apprentice came about as a result of me having raced in 3 Raid Galois, produced 9 eco challenges, 16, produced 6 survivors. There's 21. 21 extremely remote outdoor shows. And while being a person of adventure and loving nature in the raw, both experiencing it, producing content, you know, television with it, but also becoming a little exhausted of, you know, am I always going to only produce things in the middle of nowhere? And a conversation with James, my young son, who on one phone call via probably satellite phone from somewhere said, "Daddy, I forgot what you look like." You know, and I was like, ugh. And just saying, you know, asking God, you know, is there anything I can do in a city? Is there anything else? And looking for a sign. Seeing a documentary while I was in Brazil, which was a BBC documentary, was about like a job interview, and that's spurring off an idea for me, and then thinking, well, you know, I wonder if there'd be a show, kind of Survivor-ish, but it takes place in a city, and it's all about people trying to get a job, but instead of a resume, they would have contests every week, tasks, business tasks, you know, and they'd be seeking some big job, you know, and Donald Trump came to mind. I'd met him previously when I was producing the finale of Survivor Marquesas. I'd rented the Trump Warman skating rink in Central Park, great backdrop of Manhattan skyline. They'd built 5,000 seat bleachers, had Rosie O'Donnell there to host it, and Donald had given us a lease and met Donald. He told me how much he loved Survivor, you know, and that were I to ever have any ideas for him, he'd love to hear it and love to work with me. So now I'm in the jungle in the Amazon trying to think what I'm going to do, and thinking about a job interview show with the reward, the winner, getting a big job in big-time American business, and Trump was the obvious choice. And that meeting with Trump at Survivor Marques's finale in New York led on to using that personal contact to having the ability to meet Donald directly, having the credibility of Survivor behind me. And the rest is history, you know. What everyone said to Donald and myself, you know, a business show won't work on TV. Although Jeff Zucker saw the opportunity immediately and took the risk and stepped up and made an immediate deal. And it became total hit show, Thursdays at 9. Survivor was on, I kept the two shows. Part of my deal was they couldn't be opposite each other. And so Survivor was on Thursdays at 8, Apprentice on Thursdays at 9. And suddenly I had 2 of the top 10 shows, or 2 of the top 5 shows, I think, on American TV, both on the Thursday night. And I took some of my key Survivor team, broke them off, and had them become the Apprentice team. Because I'm very close to the vest in my trusted, brilliant, creative people that I surround myself with and rely upon. And next thing you knew, we were back-to-back running 2 competition, unscripted drama shows. And the rest is history. And we're about to start shooting Celebrity Apprentice, which will be number 11, which is, it morphed into a charity version where people weren't really looking for a job with Trump, but they were looking to become The Apprentice. And we've done a few versions of Celebrity Apprentice. I have sold the format of The Apprentice worldwide. It's very, very big, in many countries. And one country in particular that's very big in is in the UK on BBC. And the BBC did a special of a celebrity charity apprentice, and that's where that idea came from. And rather than do a special, I turned it into a series, and it continues. And we're about to start shooting Celebrity Apprentice, which will be the 11th edition of Apprentice. So I've done now, I've shot 22 versions of Survivor and 11, that's just half as many, Apprentices. And then other shows of note for me is, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, which really came out of meetings with collaborators and sort of realizing that many adults have major trouble doing their 10-year-old kids' homework. It's just simply that we've forgotten things like how to calculate the area on a triangle. We've forgotten how to name the capitals of foreign cities. We've forgotten things about animals, which were just like stuff in 5th grade. But you know why? Because your brain's like a computer hard drive that's full. A kid who's currently in 5th grade and just been through previous 4 grades kind of know this stuff, especially smart kids really know this stuff. And their parents have forgotten. Simply thing like calculating the area of a triangle. Everyone knows that, but you get put the lights on you and you get asked that formula, and you're like, wow, I know this, and the kids are laughing and the kids are buzzing in and they know it, and it's, Jeff Foxworthy, what a great choice, So I've got Jeff Probst on Survivor, Donald Trump on The Apprentice, Jeff Foxworthy on 5th Grader. Jeff Foxworthy taught me so much. This guy, he is so funny and such a good, conscious human being. And he said, let's make sure the children in this show, the 5th graders in the class, never humiliate the failing adults. Let's be uplifting. We can laugh with them. What a great lesson he gave me. A great person of faith, great human being. It's been a great time with him.
Some of the cast members and contestants on your shows have reached certain levels of fame. Richard Hatch, Elizabeth Hasselbeck, Omarosa. When you're casting for your shows, do you warn, prepare somehow talk to them about the possibility of fame and how to deal with it, or that just happens?
In the beginning of this genre, which I was obviously involved in, it was all new, and we spent a lot of time trying to prepare contestants for the media and how their past would be dug into and things they said would be taken out of context and it wouldn't be the same. But, here we are. That was in Eco Challenge from 95 to 2003, and Survivor 2000 till now, and Apprentice 2004 till now. Well, there's now like 1,000 different reality shows. There's probably 90% of all television is reality shows right now. So I think people are smart enough to realise that they will probably get recognised and their lives will be different. And the only thing about my shows are that we don't really have people on our shows who are looking for that fame. We try our best not to. And clearly, no show's being mentioned, but you'll probably come up with 100 shows where the entire point of the show is to become famous.
With The Apprentice and The Celebrity Apprentice, is there one of those versions you prefer? Do you have more fun with?
Just not really.
I'm going to mention just some other shows, and just you can make a quick comment almost, or just almost like a word association, but whatever comes to mind. The Contender.
Disappointment. I thought it was a great show. Put a ton of effort into it, and wish it was still on. Did 4 seasons of that show, and love it. Everything from the Hans Zimmer score, the cinematography, the idea of disadvantaged, lower income people who have to fight for a living, trying to find their way, very redemptive. And my disappointment is that the show is not still on and wasn't a bigger hit, but glad I made it and very, very, very proud of it.
On the Lot.
Big mistake by me to make the assumption that for decades short films had been given short shrift at the Academy Awards. No one watches short films really in the theatres. Short films have never worked on TV, but because of YouTube, I figured out that short films would be good TV, and clearly, despite having the guidance of Steven Spielberg and DreamWorks totally on my shoulders to have steered us all down the wrong path. Made a good looking show, high quality production. We always do that. That's one thing. We'll always execute, but you've got to have a good core concept, and clearly short films, don't resonate on network TV, and there's plenty of space on YouTube for that. And people are enjoying that on YouTube.
The Restaurant.
Loved making The Restaurant. Great fun, great show. Did very, very well. Met Ben Silverman. Well, I not met him, I knew him, but I knew Ben, but got to know him really well by making that show with Ben. Rocco DeSpirito, great character. Great fun, great experience, loved it.
Rockstar in Excess.
Unbelievable that we found a bona fide temporary replacement to Michael Hutchence. Great band, In Excess, great singer. We redid it, relaunched In Excess. They went on a world tour, and probably more people asked me about when is Rockstar coming back than any show I've ever done.
What are you working on now? What are you developing for the future?
I'm working on tons of stuff now. The last thing I'm going to do is on an interview talk about what I'm developing, right?
Can you talk about Sarah Palin's Alaska at all?
Sarah Palin's Alaska, great team, the same team that made a show that I made called Expedition on History Channel. some of the same team worked on that. It's a travel log, adventure show showcasing Alaska, and your guide on that journey into Alaska and its people are Sarah Palin and her family come along for a lot of the adventures. And I think it will really, really increase Alaska tourism.
Okay. How did you like producing the MTV Movie Awards?
I love producing the MTV Movie Awards. Tons of work, but it's great energy, great fun, great team around me. Culturally very important, because the Academy Awards, while prestigious, doesn't seem to really reward the movies that people go and see and vote with their wallets. I mean, you don't get Transformers, Harry Potter at the Academy Awards. You know, you got Vion Rose. I mean, great films, but my kids are watching the Academy Awards and saying, "What is that?" You know, and they're out the room. I mean, so they're trying to update the Academy Awards, obviously, and make it more relevant. But in the end, you know, it's a small group of people rewarding themselves. And the MTV Movie Awards is voted on by America and the theatre going public, you know, and a lot of fun. It's great fun, in fact. You know, biggest villain, best kiss, best actor, best movie. It's great, best comedy. It's great fun.
How do you feel about the state of television today?
I think television there's more television than ever. There's more television being made than ever. So if you aggregate all the channels and all the people watching on the channel, probably more people watching than ever.
Would you say you have a brand when it says Mark Burnett at the end of a show?
I don't know if I have a brand, but I can only answer that question in that other people say to me, if I took my name off of the show, they could still tell it was one of my shows. Now, there's a few people that have learned to emulate the cutting style and the cinematography style. It happens, you know, it just happens, right? I guess it's the best form of flattery, right? Imitation. But people can tell there's a certain way that we edit, use music and images. So I think my name on a show creates a feeling of you know what to expect in terms of visually.
In just a word or two, how would you describe your management style?
I think my management style is try to be a good listener, encouraging, raise people up, not tear them down. We have a no asshole policy on all our shows. Don't want people divisively politicking and backstabbing. The feedback is people who've been with us for ages, have left and then come back, are like, wow. It's a very artist-friendly, I think, place. You know, I don't know what my management style, I don't even know if I have a management style. I just try to, you know, you don't hire great people, which I have great people, and then micromanage them. I only want to keep the vision. And my greatest people will call me every day, or I'll be on the set and will talk to me and say, what do you think? What do you think? You know, but in the end, you know, an architect isn't out there with a paintbrush and putting in the windows and, you know, choosing the furniture. You know, they're sort of made a sort of design. Well, I mean, maybe some do, but I just think that'd be crazy. You know, it takes a village. I mean, I would be doing nothing without those crews. Nothing. It's not possible. So if anything, what makes me one of the best in this genre is my ability to choose the right teammates. And there's an old saying from North Africa, which is, choose the people you travel with long before you choose the route. It's not about where you're going and how strong you are to get there and can you read a map. It's about the people you're traveling with. That's what will defeat you or make it easier. Yeah.
What advice would you give to an aspiring producer?
I just did. All right, bye.
Perfect. Okay.
Bye.